Welcome back. Let's get you the big news now from the US, which everyone's watching very, very closely. And former President Donald Trump is at the Trump Tower in New York. This ahead of his historic booking and arraignment on hush money charges as the nation's largest city bolstered security and warned potential protesters it was not a playground for misplaced anger.
That's right. Now, what exactly is the case? The case against Trump stems from payments made during his 2016 campaign. Trump is facing multiple charges of falsifying business records, including at least one felony offense in the indictment handed down by a Manhattan grand jury last week. So really a historic indictment there, Gargi, because it's for the first time that an ex-president or a sitting president in US presidential history has been indicted.
That's right, and the investigation will be scrutinizing a six-figure payments made to a porn actress, Stormy Daniels, there you can see on your screens, and a former Playboy model, Karen McDougal.
That's right. Now, both say that they had sexual encounters with Trump, who was married then, and this was before he got into politics. Now, Trump has vehemently denied these charges.
So an unprecedented chapter in American history with Trump facing criminal charges. So what happens next? Well, the arraignment will take place. Donald Trump will appear before a judge for the first time. He was meeting with lawyers. Remember, it's nighttime now in New York. So he's meeting with all his lawyers ahead of his appearance the next day. And he will be pleading not guilty.
That's right. In fact, the trial could go well beyond the presidential election is what we're hearing. It could take over 2 years from indictment to trial, to the verdict of the trial. And if elected, he could be a president on trial. So that's going to be very interesting to see.
Quite unexpected, yes. And the judge has already said that the trial will not be on camera. There will be some pictures, still pictures that will be taken. But he says it doesn't serve any public interest purpose. Now, New York City officials are bracing for the protests as well as potential disruption to daily life.
That's right. So all those reactions coming in, let's just listen in.
New York City is always ready. We know that this is a city where our NYPD and other law enforcement entities must be prepared at any given moment for anything to happen in this city. To start, I want to make it clear, the commissioner has stated over and over again, there has been no specific credible threats to our city at this time. And all New Yorkers should go on with their regular activities. That means going to work, going to school. We're going to do our job as we always do.
The NYPD is prepared to ensure that everyone is able to have their voices heard peacefully while exercising their First Amendment rights. We do this work in close collaboration with our federal, state, and local partners because keeping our city safe is absolutely a collective effort. As the mayor stated, there are no credible or specific threats to New York City at this time. New Yorkers may see an increased police presence in parts of the city and should anticipate intermittent road closures over the next 2 days, particularly in Manhattan. To avoid delays, I too urge everyone to use mass transit when possible.
I will forever support this beautiful man who saved our country one time and he's going to do it again. God bless President Trump, best president this country ever had. I'm proud to say I'm gay and I love this man.
And now to battleground Karnataka, where Congress is hoping to cash in on anti-incumbency and the revolving door politics of the state. Now, Congress has really denied any kind of rift between its two powerhouses, DK Shivkumar and Siddaramaiah. But Siddaramaiah, in an exclusive interview to NDTV, has said quite a bit, Gargi.
That's right. And these differences, of course, have been seen on the ground as well. And now Siddaramaiah made it clear in this interview to NDTV's Shrija. And he said that he conceded that both he and Mr. Shivkumar are contenders for the top post.
The pulse of the people, even we hear, is that you are their mass leader. But I want to know personally from you that if, since you're saying Congress will come back to power, I see two people vying for the CM's post. You've agreed this on camera. You've said this.
I am also an aspirant
Yes.
for the Chief Minister post.
Yes.
Mr. DK Shivkumar is also an aspirant
Yes.
for the Chief Minister's post. In democracy, these things are happening. Nothing wrong in that.
Absolutely nothing wrong.
Nothing wrong.
Yes.
If DK Shivkumar wants to become the Chief Minister, nothing wrong.
Absolutely.
If I want to become the Chief Minister, some ex wants to become the Chief Minister, nothing wrong. ultimately the newly elected MLAs, they have to elect
Okay, so the majority comes...
leader of the legislature party. And ultimately High Command has to take a decision. So that is the democratic procedure.
What's the pulse within your party then?
Huh?
You said you know the pulse in the, on the ground.
Yes,
What's the pulse within your party?
That is the ground reality.
What's the pulse in the party? What's the pulse in the party? Is the maximum majority
That
towards
is
you?
the pulse of the party is the pulse of the party. The pulse of the people is the pulse of the party.
Okay. All right. But if the High Command decides, saying that let's give way for the new blood, probably DK Shivkumar, would you be willing to give up that ambition?
No. See, that won't happen because we have to go by the democratic process.
Okay.
That question does not, High Command will not take a decision on its own.
Okay.
Go by the opinion of the newly elected MLA.
All right.
And now in a sign of trouble for the Congress as it preps for the Karnataka election, groups of party workers from various constituencies barged into state headquarters in Bengaluru to lobby for their candidates.
That's right. They held a competing protests outside the KPCC office, and these dramatic protests preceded the announcement of the Congress's second list of candidates. Meanwhile, the BJP is holding internal elections to select each candidate, and so far no lists have been released just yet.
Ticket distribution season in the upcoming Karnataka elections. And the threat of rebellion looms for the BJP's Karnataka unit though. In a first, the party adopted a novel method of selecting candidates. Internal elections for each candidate, almost like an American election system of primaries. Thousands of BJP workers are gathered at party offices across the state, voting for their choice of candidates across 224 assembly segments in an internal poll. Before the official candidate list is out, this process that began on 1st of April concluded today. The BJP is yet to release the name of its candidates.
See, that is the democracy is there in BJP, not in any other party. That will a selection process is there that our High Command will take a decision on it.
More than 20,000 office bearers took part in the selection process. In fact, each of the office bearers selected their candidates in order of their preference and their choice. This was also a method which was adopted during the Himachal Pradesh elections too. BJP party sources say that the criteria for selecting candidate was, of course, 1, the image, 2, winnability, and 3, deniability, which is denying a ticket based on anti-incumbency. The Congress, though, having released a list on half the seats, two groups of supporters raised slogans and held up placards at the Karnataka Congress office as they lobbied for the candidates.
In Congress party, we have taken the opinion of the Black Committee presidents. We have taken the opinion of all senior leaders, PCC members, and in-charge secretary, in-charge working president, and we conducted survey. 3 times we have conducted survey.
One group was lobbying for HM Gopi Krishna in Tharikere constituency and the other for Yogesh Babu in Molakaluru constituency. The BJP is likely to announce its candidate list once the nomination begins on April 13th. In fact, the party is adopting wait and watch strategy. As far as the Congress is concerned, the open dissent is signaling more trouble for them. In Bengaluru with Kumar Shrija for NDTV.
All right, now let's get to the latest developments in the Kalakshetra scandal. After a professor was accused of sexual harassment, Kalakshetra board has constituted an independent committee now to inquire again into those allegations of sexual harassment made by a former student.
So several students had been protesting inside campus. In fact, this is considered to be one of the most prestigious art colleges and art universities in Tamil Nadu. And there were not one but several students who had alleged sexual harassment. In fact, Sam Daniel is now joining us live on the broadcast. Sam, so swift action by the university, the Kalakshetra
action
Institute.
after the arrest of the
Exactly.
professor.
Yeah.
Many would call it too little too late, Vedant and Gargi, because initially the Kalakshetra management, particularly the director, denied any allegations of sexual harassment on campus by students, and they even called it as an attempt to tarnish the institute image as part of a disinformation campaign. But only after students protested and it persisted, now they have appointed an independent committee. This committee constitutes Justice K. Kannan, retired judge, and former DGP of Tamil Nadu, Latika Saran, and Dr. Shobha Vardhaman. And these three members would now inquire into these allegations. And then already the director has said the board would not spare anyone found guilty of any unsavory act. And this comes also after the arrest of one of the assistant professors yesterday, Hari Padman, and an investigation is underway. He has been remanded to judicial custody. The management has also suspended him and has also recommended dispensing, engaging three other what they call as repertory artists by the management till the inquiry is completed. And as we speak now, the State Women's Commission is also inquiring into the matter. The State Women's Commission chairperson had a one-on-one meeting in person and online with 12 individuals who had specific complaints to make. And so far, at least 90 students, both men and women, have given complaints individually to the Commission on allegations of sexual harassment, body shaming, and verbal abuse over the last few years. And the arrest of this particular faculty member came after a former student who was doing her post-graduation a few years ago. At that time, she alleges this particular professor had sought sexual favors, and when she said no, he targeted her in terms of denying her opportunities and also spreading carnage about her. And it was on her complaint police have arrested, and they're also hoping that many other students who have given complaints to the Women's Commission would come forward and muster enough courage to file a police complaint as well, so that the other repertory artists can also be investigated.
That's right. So, Sam, are the students now satisfied with the action? Yesterday, the arrest finally taking place. Now a committee set up finally to look into the matter and the professor being suspended.
It appears so. We are awaiting a formal statement from the student body, Gargi, but their main demand was reconstitution of the inquiry committee, the internal complaints committee, and also inclusion of a student representative in that committee. Besides action in terms of they wanted sacking of these four faculty members and repertory artists who they blame for sexual harassment. Informally, they say they're quite happy, but we're waiting for a formal response to understand what their stand is. But the college has been shut down and the exams have been rescheduled.
All right, Sam, thanks so much for joining us with that. So, Professor Hari Padman finally suspended and a panel constituted to look into all those allegations. Well, with that, we'll slip into a short break.
And on the other side, we'll get you what's happening in Howrah. Fresh violence was reported after a political war of words. Welcome back. Now let's get you the latest on what's happening in West Bengal's Hooghly. Railway properties were damaged and train services affected after fresh violence broke out late last night, a day after clashes during a BJP procession in the area.
That's right. The clashes or the trouble took place during the Shobha Yatra on Sunday, where BJP leaders claimed the procession came under attack. But now, last night, fresh violence breaking out. Local mail and express train services on the Howrah-Bandel section had to be suspended for about 3 hours due to the stone pelting that took place near the level crossing. The situation under control this morning. As you can see, the movement of trains resumed post midnight, but several several long-distance trains were delayed due to this violence, is what the railway authorities have said. And, you can see that the security forces there rushed to the area. But take a look at those visuals of the stones that were pelted yesterday there for us to see on the ground. Let's go across to Saurabh for more on this. So, Saurabh, the situation now under control?
Yes, the railways have said that the situation has returned to normal, and they say that this was after the railways carried out what they call is a track fitness examination exercise. Now, because this was near a railway gate, a level crossing, the railways had to be extra alert before allowing trains on that area. And it took them about 3 hours to confirm that everything was fit and fine to go. After which, at around 1 in the night, or in the morning rather, the railways resumed services on the Howrah-Bantul section of the Howrah-Bardhaman main line. And Rishra is, of course, on the Howrah-Bardhaman main line in the Howrah-Bantul section. Now, this comes close on the heels of the violence on Sunday. Monday was largely peaceful. Not many incidents of, violence except for this little flare-up in the night near the railway gate. Now, the obvious question is law and order, and why couldn't this be stopped? Police say they were posted all around, Rishra, and it took them, they were in the area, but not in the exact area where the violence took place, and they reached the area and brought things under control, and RPF also has been rushed to the spot. But, there are always these concerns over flare-up post, something like this, especially when it's violence along communal lines, something that the High Court also said, that they do not anticipate this. And the High Court has asked for police to be deployed. Accordingly, police were deployed. In fact, we had seen yesterday at about 9 o'clock in the evening when we were, in Rishra, we tried to see what the security situation was, and we saw that there was a lot of police posted in the area, all over the area. But these are flare-ups, and these happen. These things, once they happen, the police rush to the spot, is what the police say, and they rush there and brought the situation under control quite soon enough. But clearly, there is also, this is going to be something that the state government is going to have to explain in the High Court. The High Court has already asked questions, asked for a report that has to be submitted on the 5th, and on the 6th, this hearing will take place in the Calcutta High Court. This is after a petition filed by the BJP to not only deploy central forces, but also hand over the investigation of these cases to the NIA, or the National Investigation Agency.
Right, so thanks very much, Saurabh, for the latest. In fact, yesterday itself, the Calcutta High Court had said that if these incidents have been reported earlier, the state government should have been more careful.
On to the big story yesterday. Congress leader Rahul Gandhi granted bail on Monday in the 2019 defamation case. His 2-year jail sentence paused until a decision on his appeal challenging his conviction.
So now there are going to be no ramifications as far as disqualification is concerned. That stays. But at the same time, it's important to point out that NDTV accessed his application in which he said that he was targeted because he was an MP, because, and the maximum sentence was given to him only because he was a member of parliament. Here's a report.
The Surat Sessions Court has granted bail to Congress leader Rahul Gandhi in the Modi surname criminal defamation case and has also suspended the sentence of 2 years. But the court has not yet stayed the conviction in the case, which would restore Rahul Gandhi's Lok Sabha membership.
3 मोदी की जिक्र है, नरेंद्र मोदी जी की, ललित मोदी जी की और नीरव। तीनों में से 2 तो ओबीसी वाले है ही नहीं, और मोदी कोई कास्ट नहीं है, मोदी सरनेम है। कास्ट और सरनेम में डिफरेंस है।
As a show of strength, several senior Congress leaders accompanied Rahul Gandhi to the court, including the 3 chief ministers of Congress-ruled states, Ashok Gehlot, Bhupesh Baghel and Sukhwinder Singh Sikhu. His sister Priyanka Gandhi, along with K.C. Venugopal and Anand Sharma, were also present. BJP questioned the entourage and alleged Congress is trying to intimidate the judiciary.
My point is very simple. Why Congress party is trying to put this kind of undue pressure to the judiciary? There are means and ways to deal with all judicial matter. But is this the way? Has there ever seen a case like where the entire party is, trying to gheraw a court?
Responding to these allegations, Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge hit back at the Bharatiya Janata Party.
ये शक्ति प्रदर्शन नहीं है, हमारा लीडर है तो लीडर के साथ खड़े होने के लिए सभी लोग जाते हैं। एक मामूली केस में जब होता है तो आपके परिवार के लोग जाते हैं, तो ये तो पूरा एक पार्टी है और देश के लिए लड़ रहे हैं। तब जब देश के लिए लड़ रहे हैं तो हमारे लोग पूरे वहाँ पर पहुँचते हैं।
While the 2-year sentence has been suspended, Rahul Gandhi still can't get back his Lok Sabha membership until the court decides on his plea seeking stay of conviction on April 13th. With camera person Ashok Mahale, this is Arvind Gunasekar from Surat for NDTV.
All right, so Vedant, let's get those exclusive details with NDTV of Rahul's plea on in the court. And he said if conviction not stayed, the elected member of parliament will lose a chance to represent people, that the conviction is erroneous. Material against him has not been proven.
That's right. And the most crucial point from this application is that the line of argument that the Congress is taking is that the harshest punishment was given to him only because he was an MP. So now this is something that the Congress is likely to use politically as well, that he was given that maximum 2-year sentence that led to his disqualification only because, he was an MP. So the 2-year sentence was given to him to attract disqualification, in a sense raising questions on that particular verdict of the Gujarat court.
And they've also pointed out that the bypoll, should a bypoll take place in Wayanad, it will cost the exchequer, it will lead to loss. So that too has been put into that plea that Rahul Gandhi put before the court. Right, another news and achievement for the Delhi police. Deepak Boxer, one of Delhi's most wanted gangsters, has been arrested in Mexico and will be brought to India later this week.
That's right. A special Delhi police team caught Boxer in Mexico with the help of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. This is the first time that Delhi police has arrested a gangster outside India, and he was in fact on the run since he allegedly murdered a realtor in August 2022. The builder Amit Gupta was shot several times on a busy road in Delhi's civil lines area.
International news now. Finland will become a member of NATO, completing a historic security policy shift triggered by Russia's invasion of Ukraine, while neighbouring Sweden is kept in the waiting room.
That's right. The military alliance will welcome Finland as its 31st member in a flag-raising ceremony at the NATO headquarters on the outskirts of Brussels, attended by Finnish president and government ministers as well.
Tomorrow we will welcome Finland as the 31st member of NATO, making Finland safer and our alliance stronger. We will raise the Finnish flag for the first time here at the NATO headquarters. It will be a good day for Finland's security, for Nordic security, and for NATO as a whole. Sweden will also be safer as a result. Last year, allies made an historic decision to invite Finland and Sweden to become members of NATO. Since then, we have seen the fastest ratification process in NATO's modern history. And all allies agree that Sweden's accession should be completed quickly.
All right, the big story from the US and former President Donald Trump is at Trump Towers in New York. This ahead of his historic booking and arraignment on hush money charges, as the nation's largest city has bolstered security as they're expecting protesters to arrive there.
That's right. In fact, it was expected that he will be mobilizing his supporters. That happened in the build-up to his indictment as well. Now, what exactly is the case? The case against Trump stems from payments made during his 2016 campaign. Trump is facing multiple charges of falsifying business records, including at least one felony offense in the indictment handed down by a Manhattan grand jury. So really a historic indictment there, Gargi.
That's right. And the investigation is scrutinizing a six-figure payment made to porn actor Stormy Daniels and former Playboy model Karen McDougal, though Trump has denied their charges.
That's right. So both said that they had sexual encounters with Trump, who was married back then. And as you rightly pointed out, Trump has denied all these charges. But the fact is that it's going to be an unprecedented chapter in American history, with Trump being the first former president, or the first time that a sitting or former president has to face criminal charges.
Now, the judge has already said that the arraignment, even though it has unparalleled public interest, it will not be broadcast. So what can we expect? Well, Donald Trump will appear before the judge for the first time. There will be some still pictures, though, which will be released. And Trump is expected to plead not guilty. He did meet with his lawyers after arriving in New York.
That's right. And the trial could, of course, go well beyond the presidential election 2024, given that, it could take over 2 years from indictment to the trial verdict. But, of course, it's going to have larger ramifications on the Republican campaign as well, Gargi, because we saw that all Republicans really came out in support, even his most arch rival as well.
That's right. That's been a very curious development, how the Republicans continue to champion him, and he plans to continue his presidential campaign, as well as hoping that this will actually help him. Well, New York City officials are bracing for protests. The mayor has warned against any major violence taking place.
New York City is always ready. We know that this is a city where our NYPD and other law enforcement entities must be prepared at any given moment for anything to happen in this city. To start, I want to make it clear, the commissioner has stated over and over again, there has been no specific credible threats to our city at this time. And all New Yorkers should go on with their regular activities. That means going to work, going to school. We're going to do our job as we always do.
The NYPD is prepared to ensure that everyone is able to have their voices heard peacefully while exercising their First Amendment rights. We do this work in close collaboration with our federal, state, and local partners, because keeping our city safe is absolutely a collective effort. As the mayor stated, there are no credible or specific threats to New York City at this time. New Yorkers may see an increased police presence in parts of the city and should anticipate intermittent road closures over the next 2 days, particularly in Manhattan. To avoid delays, I too urge everyone to use mass transit when possible.
Welcome back. Now, the King of Bhutan is in India. He arrived yesterday on a 2-day visit, and he's currently meeting with Ajit Doval. He is meeting the NSA, and there you can see also with the External Affairs Minister. Now, what has been of concern is that recent statement made by the Bhutan Prime Minister.
That's right. So all eyes, of course, on whether Doklam will actually be brought up as far as his visit in India is concerned. And, this comes close on the heels of the statement by the Bhutan Prime Minister, who said that China has an equal say as far as the resolution of the Doklam border dispute is concerned.
That's right, and this is something of a concern to India, given that statement, though the Bhutan side did explain that it was something that was said earlier, but it has made New Delhi uncomfortable. So now focus will be on Bhutan-China border talks, whether they'll find any reference during these meetings that are taking place as the Bhutan king is in India.
News now from Rajasthan. The strike by private doctors in the state has entered the 16th day. So, of course, private hospitals are shut and diagnostic labs are also shut. So, the pressure is now entirely on government hospitals, who are finding it incredibly difficult to cope.
That's right. And this is a situation that needs to be resolved soon. 16 days of private doctors being on strike. Several medical challenges are there for the public. And Harsha Kumari Singh brings us this report from Jaipur.
Outside Jaipur's biggest government hospital, a line of patients. After a while, security guards begin to evict the crowds. The outpatient department operates only for a few hours in the morning, and such is the rush that many return without seeing a doctor. Like 50-year-old Rashid, semi-paralyzed. He was admitted in the general ward and then discharged and sent to the OPD to see a neurologist. By the time his turn came, the OPD had shut.
अब इनके दिमाग की नस बिलो होगी तो मतलब दिमाग की नस फट गई अब ना तो ये बोल रहे ना चल रहे कुछ भी चल भी नहीं रहे पैरों पर खड़े भी नहीं हो रहे इनका पूरा बदन ऐसा हो गया यार मतलब ये मरी लाश की जैसे इनको हम उठा रहे बैठा रहे और डॉक्टर कोई संभाल नहीं रहे अब आज डॉक्टर आने का मतलब आज से शुरू है आना तो इनको रखना चाहिए नहीं
Tarachand's 7-year-old son has fractured his leg. He needs a plaster but has so far managed only on a bandage.
हमें हमारी दिक्कत ये है कि अब यहाँ तो डॉक्टर मिल नहीं रहे इतनी दूर से आते हैं किराया करके आते हैं लोग ऑटो करके आते हैं अब यहाँ इलाज नहीं हो रहा तो किसी दूसरी जगह जाके इलाज करवाना पड़ेगा
Private doctors are on strike over the Right to Health Bill. The Right to Health Bill makes it compulsory for doctors to provide emergency medical care in Rajasthan. It also urges doctors to subscribe to government health schemes. Private doctors say there is no clear definition of what an emergency is. Private doctors also say make the Right to Health Bill compulsory in 50-bed multi-speciality hospitals.
ऐसे वक्त में मैंने इनसे बार-बार अपील की है कि आपको जब नियम कानून बनाएंगे कायदे बनाएंगे इसके एक्ट के उस वक्त छोटी मोटी आपकी और कोई समस्या होगी तो हल कर देंगे ये समझते हो ही समझना नहीं चाहते हैं
Simple tests like an X-ray or even a blood test are now impossible and government hospitals just can't cope. With private doctors on strike for over 2 weeks now, the health infrastructure in Rajasthan is clearly crumbling. And it's ironical that the Right to Health Bill that promises affordable, universal medical health care to all is actually proving to be the cause of distress for so many patients. In Jaipur, Harsha Kumari Singh, NDTV.